Time to talk about the Packmaster here, riding his Brood Horror mount, new hero choice for the Skaven. And hero slots are at a premium these days with Skaven. They have a lot of very good heroes, which is why in a build like this that has Skrulk for a Lord slash caster, that then opens up 2 slots, one for an Assassin, one for a Packmaster. This is Guac's Skaven up against my Beastmen here. I've got reworked Khazrak, some Ungors, Goreherds, whole bunch of Raiders, 4 Centaurs with throwing axes, 2 Poison Warhounds, Skrulk and the Assassin as I mentioned. You saw the mortars probably already. Got a Hell Pit Abomination, more Skatar's Hellion, a bunch of Chaff, some Slingers, some Skaven. So let's talk a little bit more as I approach here with my forces. You can see me get shelled by mortars. About the Packmaster, what does he offer? So, on top of having a Brood Horror mount, of course, he has his main kind of feature is this area of effect, Molder Healing, right? As he charges in here, he's going to get some damage on Khazrak. Khazrak with his new ward save should be okay. But he has not only regeneration, of course, on his Brood Horror. He does not have that baseline, I should be clear. He has this, plus 4 hit points per second in an area of effect. That affects Molder monsters, only does have a max of 3 targets. But basically what this means is, it does affect himself, right? He is one of those targets. So really it's 2 other targets in that AoE. But it gives him extra regeneration. And I want to say the standard regen trait, if we can have a look here, is 4 hit points per second. So in total, 8 hit points per second is on par with the best character healing in the game from the likes of Boris Todbringer, or I believe Volkmar's J. Griffin is also the same 8 hit points per second. So it actually makes the Packmaster into a very tanky character in a way. I mean, he does have relatively low HP. He does have, for a monster, he does have kind of lowish armor, only 40 armor. Not the best melee defense in the world at 40, so not a lot going for him there, but at the very least, he does have that double regeneration. And of course, that benefits others nearby as well. You can see Khazrak just in for a bad time. I'm very much regretting taking him on foot here. On the Chariot, I think he might actually be semi-competitive. On foot, I just don't really see it yet, unfortunately. Blackhorn's Ravagers, though, with him, have come in and carved a giant hole through the Skaven line, trying to get back and get at those mortars. Morskatar's Hellion had a really bad time against my line of Ungor Raiders, but he's back here chilling. Guac's doing a good job, just kind of preserving him from my missile play for the time being. Maybe he can try and get a heal, bring him in with the Packmaster at a point. Packmaster himself, though, just running shop, terrifying all of the Ungors in my backline between the damage from him, the damage from the mortars, and the terror. He's easily just terrifying them all away, so yeah. Pretty good stuff there. Take a look at the rest of the battle. I'm not doing the greatest job kind of peeling with my Centaurs and being mobile with them. Instead, I'm trying to protect these backline and use them against these kind of unarmored single entities, which is not the most efficient. I really think had I used them in a more mobile kind of circumstance, trying to pressure these units, get some rear charges, like chase these routing units, especially the Morskatar's Hellion we probably could have got rid of. But my Hound's also kind of paying a bit of the troll toll there, but Caster comes back, starts to light up the front line. Packmaster just kind of chilling back for now, tanking damage, getting shot by my Ungor Raiders, which is totally fine. I get a nice side charge in here, nom some of these Gores. Oh, might be bugging out again. I'm not sure there. We'll take a look somewhere else for just a moment. Yeah, those mortars are absolutely brutal, and it still kind of surprises me. And I haven't looked through, again, I'm recording this on the day the patch notes came out. I have not actually looked through them yet, but the mortars, I'm surprised the Poison Wind units, at least in the build I got, this early access build, didn't get a nerf. I'm really hoping, my fingers crossed, you guys will let me know down in the comments, I'm sure, below, and everyone else, whether or not that actually happened, if the Poisoned Wind units did get a little bit of a nerf. The Packmaster here, you can see horns out, Khazrak charges in, but the terror kicks in very quickly for the Spearman herd, and they just rout, and the Brood Horror, honestly, as a hero mount, is a pretty good option. Gorich is a little bit strange because he's squishy, and he actually has less regeneration than the Packmaster because of the way the ability interaction works. Like, I actually think that the Brood Horror is not that great of a mount for Throt, in my own personal opinion. I've found a lot more success bringing him on foot, but the Packmaster here, although he's having a hard time with his pathing in this game, it seems is a very good option. Oh man, Khazrak just getting ping-ponged, but literally between 2 monsters. or what is it? Not ping pong. I mean, I guess ping pong, yeah, but also pinball. What I was actually thinking of. And the Packmaster just being kind of a part of this mash is nice. Gives that help hit that extra regeneration as well. And of course, taking the Packmaster with Throt means that you do have that double regen also on Throt. But that being said, yeah, it's just, I don't know. At that point, you're taking up your hero and Lord slot, only leaving one slot available for a caster, so you're kind of obliged almost to take Lore of Plague for the summons just because it's so competitive. I mean, you could. I got away with using like a Warlock Engineer in that slot, but yeah, anyway. You can see that it's just not great for me in terms of the mortars. They've got 2 XP chevrons, 145 kills, probably like 10, 20,000 damage. Easily 20,000 damage, if not more. So pretty good stuff for the Skaven. Kind of sad for the Beastmen. A lot of people would think that the Beastmen are pretty weak. I don't actually think that's true. I think they're a decently strong faction. They're just kind of tricky to play. But there it is. Skaven are probably top tier now. And yeah, Packmaster just kind of tying things up as he routes off the few remaining units. Assassin and Skrulk kind of tagging along, and this is probably a hero combination that you will see quite a bit, because I think it's decently competitive. The Assassin just has such a good ability set. Skrulk is a very competitive Lord, gives you kind of your caster, with some other strong abilities all in one toolkit, and then the Packmaster brings that extra healing, and a little bit of a single entity health sponge too. Poison, all that jazz. Fast, speed, and terror in combination in particular is quite good. So there it is. Guac takes the cake, and a good game to him. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, taking Kazrak on the Chariot would have helped. I don't know if it would have helped too much against this build. This is actually a pretty strong build, I would say. The Clan Rat Spears are one thing that I'm kind of out on Clan Rats right now. Be honest, maybe I would just switch them out for some more chaff, and I don't know. He has a decent amount of chaff already, but they do get blended up pretty quick, even by like Ungor Spearman Herd. They can beat Skaven Slaves pretty decisively. These guys did pay for themselves, although, pretty much. I guess the Clan Rats kind of, one of them did not. None of them did, actually. But the kills might seem nice on the Council Guard. Mostly they're just here for the extra physical resistance. The Hero Squad actually, surprisingly, didn't get all that much damage done either. Skulk's decent, but yeah, we all know. The mortars, like I said, 30,000 damage, 3,000 points worth of value, just absolutely insane. The Hellion we were able to manage decently well. Slingers, one of them getting 568 points worth of value, which is kind of insane for a unit of 200 cost Slingers. That's pretty decent, actually, but yeah, like I said, well played to Guac. In terms of the Packmaster here, we can just kind of finish up with him. Talk about a couple more things. Let's see here. Go over to the Skaven. And like I said, the hero slots are really at a premium, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think Gorich is someone that, I mean, unless you want to bring him for some specific fun, I don't think he's going to be super competitive, just because these, you can only bring 2 of these, and all of them are very good at different things. Like, if you need air control, oftentimes you're going to almost be obliged to bring Howling Warp Gale if you're facing a potential very strong flying force of any kind, which, you know, you could bring either a caster Lord who has Lore of Ruin, or this guy who's also has this Drain, which is not amazing. It's a pretty weak Drain, to be honest. I don't know that it's necessarily worth the cost. Can also bring that, though. The Assassin, probably one of the most cost-effective heroes in the game. This Assassin's Trophy is awesome. Even Cut Slippery if you want. Rival Hide Talisman, also very good ability. Only one-time use, but minus 40 melee attack and that big of an AoE for that long is quite impactful. And then, of course, not to mention, a lot of people kind of been sleeping on the Eshin Sorcerer. This Lore of Stealth, in fact, does synergize very well with the Molder monsters. Armor of Darkness in particular, 22% missile resistance and 60 armor. Puts Molder monsters up in the 90 to 100 plus range, and the missile resistance is really good in certain situations if you need to shrug off some damage. So Brittle Bone, likewise, the melee defense nerf also could synergize very well with the Molder monsters. This is kind of another issue with the hero slots. Is like the Eshin Sorcerer is good, but oftentimes you want to be spending your magic on summons and your hero slots on things like the Plague Priest, the Assassin, or now the Packmaster. So Packmaster coming in relatively cheap here. His base cost only 1,200 points, so really you pay an extra 100 points more than a base Brood Horror, yet literally 2 more HP, 8 more melee defense, and I'm kind of surprised. I thought the leadership would be better on the Packmaster, but I guess not. He does pick up the Encourage ability, though, so I guess he will kind of have higher leadership baseline. And he does retain Scurry Away as well, which is really nice, considering he already has 95 speed. Means that if he does get low leadership or routes, like he'll get out of dodge very fast and probably be able to save himself, more than likely. Of course, you saw the AoE healing here running with the pack, puts him up to 1350. Great price, I think, to bring this guy at. His other abilities are pretty good. I mean, the Shock Collar's okay. You can only use it on Clan Molder, which is kind of meh, but it does, you can target yourself, of course, if he's on the Clan Molder monster. And extra melee attack, immune to psychology, pretty nice for Rat Ogres. He's also got Skaven Brew, which is 40 melee attack and immune to psychology, minus 30 armor, but plus 30% base weapon damage. Again, synergizes pretty well because most Molder monsters don't have a lot of armor anyway. It's okay to tear 30 armor off at the cost of a big damage spike, although not having an armor piercing component on that weapon damage makes it a little less useful, but 40 melee attack is pretty good. And of course he has this as well, which if you have the extra cost, absolutely recommend bringing this. It's 60-second cooldown for a 15-second ability, which is not amazing, but 22% damage resistance and 8 leadership is quite nice. If he's going to take a bunch of shock damage, might be worth having, but it is the cost of, half of a Skaven slave, so take that as you will. But yeah, that's basically his whole toolkit. I mean, he's really quite versatile. You can kit him up to be decently expensive. 1661 is quite a bit to pay for this guy, but like I said, in a relatively cheap kit like this, the 1350, or even you maybe take the damage resistance if you're going to try and tank with him a little more. Yeah, it is quite effective in a number of situations, and very cost effective, I should say. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.